He's working hard, and every little bit he does makes it look even better. Isn't that a beautiful sunset through the rafters? I'm Marla, and we are building a she shed, and I'm going to give just in the background while I'm talking, you can see all the stages of ideas and planning up to this point, and we are praying and just hoping for 2 days in a row that it does not rain, that at least 4 or 5 of my men are available to work so we can get the roof on. The reason we're doing all this is because my daughter Olivia and her husband Ryan and their baby that's due, gosh, less than a month now, they've moved in with us and we're making room. And what I did is made all these schematics and ideas and plans, and even arranging where my furniture will go in there in order to make room. This is my first really best interior design image, and you can see in the little picture in the corner where the loft is being put together. And we do now have all the floor in the loft, and we do have most of the rafters and stuff are up, but that big wall of shelves will have most all of my items that are in Rubbermaid kind of tubs, and that's not attractive. So I thought, okay, I'll do some kind of little curtains such as these. And then, like an epiphany, it just came to me that I'm the owner of lots of beautiful quilts. So in the last video I said I wasn't going to tell you yet, but I can't stand it. I have to just tell you my plans. Okay, see, there's the wall. That's a big long space, and there'll be a lot of tubs there, and that's not attractive. But I have beautiful quilts. So I'm thinking all these ideas you're seeing are just Pinterest ideas that I have looked up. I'm going to hang quilts, not flat and not super scrunched up, but just kind of somewhere in between. See the way that bar is kind of like a plumbing bar? I think I like that. Now, here's just a quilt that has shower hooks in it, but I would use the kind of cafe hooks that have a clip on them. I wouldn't poke holes in my quilts. All right, I also have a vintage wash tub that I'm going to use as a sink, and it is waterproof and it is functional as far as being able to drain water, hold water, all that. So I got to thinking about where I'm going to place this. Now, these are Pinterest images of other people who have refurbished. Mine's in pretty good shape. I'm not going to do a thing to mine. It is a really cute thing to use as just a piece of furniture like this picture shows. I do also have that top, and there's another one that looks very much the way mine will look, and they've got the plumbing coming out of the wall, which I'm not sure how we're going to do mine yet. We're still thinking about that, but here's how someone used one outdoors and just hooked it up to an actual garden hose, which is maybe what we might do, and run the hose up through the floor. We'll have to put some kind of sealant. Okay, this paint plan, that was the first image I saw of a color that I loved. And one of the reasons I love that truffle dark color is because it will kind of blend in with nature back there on the back of our property. It's going to be really tall, and I don't want it to stand out like a neon light. So, I just kept picking up samples because, I can't stop myself. But I've decided I better buy some in a little paint sample before I buy 12 gallons or however much it's going to take. I better do some samples. Okay, there's the original truffle, and then there's the wild truffle that looked a little lighter, and I thought that might actually be a more appropriate color because it will not be so dark that it would look black. I don't want it to look black. The roof on the original shed is dimensional shingles, but we have decided to go with metal roof on the she shed, the new edition, and we are going to use silver. eventually, when we need to replace the roofing on the little shed, we will also do the same silver, but for now it doesn't need it, so we're just going to leave it as is. It's in two different directions as far as how the sunlight will hit it. You know, the gables are in opposing directions. The exterior details that we've come up with so far, gone through a lot of versions of my mock-up, but we have decided to use French doors, and I did find a set listed on Facebook Marketplace. It had been up for just, like 52 minutes or something when I found it, and it's a really good set, and it comes with lots of extra features. It was $100. Okay, so I did a butcher job of a Photoshop mock-up to see how it would look, and I also came across an image of the carriage doors here that had the hardware, which I do plan to use, and this adorable little awning. Oh my word, I can just imagine how cute that would be. So I don't know when that'll happen. It can't be the highest priority. In the meantime, I'm already thinking about which pieces of furniture that are in my house that are going to be going into the she shed. This view here shows what the back space is going to look like. The under the loft space will be my craft area, and I did a rough draft, a little quick sketch of where I thought things would go, and then I took time to do a proportionate to scale, showing where I would put all my things on the main level. And this little area under the loft is going to have a space for my sewing machine, a craft desk. The little brown desk on the right will have a computer set up, and my Duncan 5 china cabinet. It's not really going to go with the theme back there, but I don't have a better place to put it. But I'm sure I'll rearrange several times. On top, on the loft up there, I've got a full-size queen bed that we're going to use, and that might be the way that I have things arranged. But I also have a twin size bed that I might use, so I'll have to rearrange. Okay, as far as lighting goes, I'm thinking a lot about how we're going to light this place up. My brother-in-law had some lights. There's 4 of those ceiling lights that were left over from his house construction. And here is the chandelier from my rose room. And the Parrot Uncle Company has reached out to me and asked if I would like to try one of their fans and give my opinion, feature it on a future video. So that's the one I picked out, and they have sent it to me. I found that fuzzy image. That's a Pinterest image showing how exposed beams in a shed, and so that's what I'm doing there. And my little chandelier that I already have, and the boys already took it down. Well, Joel ended up in my rose room. We haven't repainted in there yet because I just told him that's not a priority, but you can see how similar those were. All right, I'm going to have a banister because we intend for little grandchildren and everybody to be up in the loft. And the inspiration picture had the most plain, just lumber banister, but I really hoped that I could do something a little fancier than that, or a little more vintage looking, I guess, rustic vintage. And obviously there's all kinds of pictures of beautiful fences and deck porch rails and all kinds of things, and boy would I love to come up upon something as ornate as that. But in my area here are some, let's see, at least 2 different people have lots of these banisters, and they're $5 a piece. Well, that's probably what I'm going to go do, but I've got to decide what size I need and which of the styles. I think I really want the ones with the knobs on top, and I think those happen to be the shorter ones anyway, which would probably be about right, but they got to be tall enough to keep my grandchildren from falling off. My interior walls, what I really, really want is barnwood, which you can't get for more than, bacoodles of money. So I thought, okay, how about old fencing? So I made a Facebook post for my friends and also searched out, okay, that's very hard to come by. In the meantime, Ben says if I don't find the fence boards, Lowe's does have in stock this exterior siding, which is much thinner, and the panels are narrower than what we're using on the outside. So that might be what I use. Okay, we have not had many dry days, and what dry days that we did have, Ben really hardly had anybody who was available to help him, so he was doing what he could. He's here showing how tall how tall it is for the loft, under the loft, and in the loft. You can see that later on you'll see a little scene. Oh look, he's got almost all the siding on the very front, which is very exciting. He did get the windows installed, and I'm dying for him to put the doors in. Maybe he can do that tonight when he gets home. That's what I'm begging for. Okay, these exterior windows, or well, these windows are black on the outside, white on the inside. I didn't even know they made such a thing, but this was the only kind of windows that Lowe's had in stock the day that we were buying, and they only had 2 in stock, and they said they would get more soon. So I said, just go with it. I think I might even really like that. I've never done that before, but you know, I'm willing. I needed it to be black on the outside because the original shed has black on the outside over there, and I did want that to carry on, you know, to continue. The flashing around that, or I don't know what you call that edge piece, that will be covered with wood trim, so that's not, it won't be white like that. It won't be showing. And they're kind of tilted right now, but Ben has decided, because you know the siding at the top of this window is sticking out further, and he's talking about how he's going to make those actually just all the same. He's going to add something back there behind there, but he at least did get them started, screwed in. I guess he'll have to take them completely out to do that other thing. And we don't know what we're doing for steps yet. That is, you know, concrete blocks is what we've got right now. And that is one of the least urgent things that we have going on, because, as you know, my house is piled up like a refugee camp, because I have absorbed pretty much Olivia's entire household in addition to my household, and all the rooms that we vacated for Olivia is enough to fill up my shed. So that's a third household. I'm just calling it a third household because that's fairly what it is. So I've got 3 households under one roof, and yeah, I'm ready to have a place for these things to live so that I can live again in my home. Because yeah, we're not super functional. I mean, we're sort of functional, but not super functional. Okay, that's the way the exterior looks now, but of course it's going to get painted that dark truffle color that I think will look a lot like the pine tree bark, which is my intention. I want it to look very much natural. Now you can see that there's a window on the side there that will be cut out and become a doorway. We'll have a door that it can open and close, I think. Ben said he might make it a pocket door. I don't know. That's like I said, our focus is on trying to get this thing in the dry, get a roof on it so that we can actually start moving stuff into there. Because wow, our house is crowded up. And of course you notice Ella. This is little baby Isaac's baby bed. This came to me by way of my aunt. And I believe, if I have the story right, it came from their church nursery, and it is a mini crib, and we decided that that would be just fine to start out with anyway, till he gets to be a bigger baby. But I had to, well, I didn't have to, but Olivia wanted to paint it, so I had to, I sanded it with a sander, and then I went over, and there's a lot of angles on that thing, and then I went over the whole thing with Quilts paint. Ben Cain is obviously one of the strongest individuals. He lifted all, and they're very heavy, those panels of exterior siding. He lifted every one of those to that upper level by himself. You see he has temporarily nailed a big stud going across there to hold it up, but he had to get it lifted up to that point. And he did that by himself. I don't even know how he did that. Also, we've never owned a nail gun before, but we have a friend who's an architect, and he was helping us with our plans and told Ben that a nail gun actually, we always were of the opinion that a nail gun wasn't as good as driving nails by hand, just with a hammer. But he pointed out to us that the glue that holds the nails onto that strip, when you shoot it into the wood, it liquefies, and then when it gets into the wood, it solidifies again and actually makes a stronger bond. Plus, it has been much, much faster. So, we've had a good experience with the nail gun so far. Here's a view from the loft down into the main area. You can see that the horizontal beams, rafter beams, will stop before it gets to the loft area. And then that big wall over to the side, we didn't put windows purposely because I knew that that would be my storage shelves. And those crazy angled studs, those are just for extra support until we get the roof on. So it won't shimmy, so it won't go wonky. I'm going to miss being able to see through the roof. I know it's not, there's no way you can have a see-through roof, and we don't want the plastic corrugated stuff. But wow, that sunset, that's just was the natural, happened to be timed just right, and I love the way that looks over there. I guess we could always add skylights later on, but it's got to be functional before it can be fabulous. And it's actually going to be pretty fabulous from the start. I realized that the trouble that Ben was going to build it and all the things that were being done, I just made the decision. I thought, whatever doesn't fill up or whatever doesn't fit onto my wall of shelves, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go forward. I'm gonna keep my favorite things and let the other stuff go, because I want this to be an enjoyable family space. And with Olivia and Ryan and a newborn baby being in our home, and I still have 2 grown sons who live at home. They're in college. So, I want this to be an enjoyable family space. Oh, I'm showing that I can just barely touch the lowest rafter in the loft area. So our men can stand fully in the middle, and I can stand fully before my head touches the lowest rafter. I'm about 3.5 feet from the edge, so that's a walkable space. I am going to put a bed on that end over there, and I've been thinking about how if the bed is touching the rails, that the children might, gosh, I can't even say the words. They might, I don't want to, there's a local waterfall here called Nakalula Falls because an Indian princess jumped off, and so we named it after her. And I do not want any child to go Nakalula off the upper level. So I may turn the bed so that the headboard is on the side wall, not the back wall. And if I do that, I might actually use a twin bed on this other side as far back in the corner as it can go, with its headboard on the side wall. Lord, we got a pontoon boat covered up with the blue tarp back there, and we got a camper over there. My word. I like the hillbillies of all hillbillies over here, but we'll clean this up. We'll make it look a little better. We'll get the junk up. But okay, looking from the loft down into the main level, you can see that it will be it will be a lot like we are just all enjoying the same space, because the whole building is 16 inches, my word, left to right 16 feet, front to back 22 feet. And that's a good space, especially considering that the loft is 16 feet wide by 8 feet. Maybe a little less than 8 feet. I can't remember what Ben said that measurement was. So, bless his heart out there on the scaffold, lifting up those huge pieces, and he has slept hard after this, and I have been sleeping hard after this. And yeah, I've got a whole nother story about how we're doing our sleeping arrangement, but I'll save that for a next video because that's pretty hilarious. Thank you for your loving support, all your prayers, and all the blessings that you are to me. I love the comments, and I'm sorry that I'm not replying individually, but I'm reading them, and I love you all. Thanks so much.